Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Capital City Baptist Church. Today's reading is found in John 1, verses 12 through 13, and it goes like this. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of a man, but of God. You know, as I understand it, not too many people in history were ever adopted, by a monarch, or in other words, a king or a queen. But it turns out that there was one in the Swedish royal family of 1818 that actually did this. The House of Bernadette was founded by Charles XIV. John, who was born in France as Jean Bernadette, and rose to the rank of general in the French Royal Army, was adopted by King Charles XIII of Sweden, who had no heirs. John subsequently became king. What a distinct privilege, isn't it? And then another adoption story. This one really touched my heart and sad, but there it is. It had to do with an African woman who came to be known as Sarah. Actually, she was a child first, but Sarah was born a princess, but became a slave when her father and family were dethroned and murdered. Born Amoba, which means princess, Alina, in 1843 in Nigeria, she was the daughter of a king of the Yoruba clan. At the tender age of 5, her family's village was raided by warriors of neighboring Dahomey, and her parents were killed. Alina was kept alive by the new king with the intent of having her as a slave. However, when Captain Forbes from Queen Victoria of England came to the coast of West Africa to persuade the king to stop the slave trade business, the king actually refused, but for some reason he gave Princess Alina to him. Captain Forbes took Alina and gave her a new name, Sarah, and took her back to England. She subsequently met Queen Victoria, who took Alina, now Sarah, and adopted her as one of her own children. From princess of a tiny kingdom to slave of that same kingdom to a princess of the most powerful country in the world. Brothers and sisters, we are children of God. Consider that for a moment. And then let me ask the question, who are we that we should be considered children of God? We were the rebellious creation that when given the opportunity to do right, chose to do wrong. We came from a couple that were given everything, and for a fruit gave it all up. At our first opportunity to obey God, we chose the opposite. Yet although we were punished, we were never forsaken. Sadly, though, man continued in his downward spiral towards sin and its devastating consequences. We were all sinners, condemned to an eternity of separation from God, and while waiting for our ultimate fate in hell, were slaves of sin on this earth. Yet God, in his great and wonderful mercy, would not let that stand. He reached out first with his prophets, and at the appointed time with the Prince of Peace himself. This Prince of Peace allowed himself to be the peace offering or sacrifice for the ultimate reconciliation between us and God the Father. But reconciliation was only the beginning. He gave us a new name, brothers and sisters, a name so precious and valuable that nothing in this world could compare. Children of God. Not children of Queen Victoria, or King John or Queen anybody or King anybody. They were all earthly kings and queens that were here for a moment and gone. We are children of the Heavenly Father who was, is, and ever shall be. We are children of God who sustains the universe in his hands. And we are children of God who, though sovereign and almighty, loved us enough to do the unthinkable to rescue our souls. Brothers and sisters, we are adopted by someone who is beyond earthly royalty and made heirs of something far more wonderful and glorious than worldly things. So today and tomorrow's challenge for us as children of God, are you having a rough day, a rough time, an issue, a situation that seems insurmountable? Turn to your Heavenly Father and put it before him. He knows everything and has promised that he will not leave us nor forsake us. Why? Because we are his. Let us rejoice and be glad and remember that this world is not our home. We are just passing through. And what awaits us is something to look forward to that will be beyond anything we could have ever hoped for in this world. We're his children forever. May God bless you. Thank you for listening. And Lord willing, I get to see you on Sunday.